So this is VoidTodos, Dead by Daylight's own version of low tier god. From getting outplayed despite using obvious cheats, to developing a fully automated hacking bot targeting other YouTubers 24/7, and even getting accused of faking a fire in his apartment to dodge a debate against SpooknJukes. VoidTodos is definitely no stranger to controversy and to humiliating himself online for views. But how exactly did this once beloved small streamer become one of the most controversial figures in the Dead by Daylight community, and why are the people he's so desperately trying to appease now starting to cannibalize his channel? Well, let's waste no time and get straight into the story of Dead by Daylight's most hated hacker, VoidTodos. Now, I want to make something very clear. This is my third video about hated figures in the Dead by Daylight community, but there's an important factor that separates VoidTodos from the other two. With Probzz, after his constant mistreatment of his fans, his community pretty much abandoned him, and with Kaiser, his community could be seen as more of a revolving door of some sorts, with a lot of people coming in, slowly realizing he's not a good guy, and eventually leaving again. Now, VoidTodos on the other hand has had a rock solid core community supporting his channel throughout the past couple of years. Even though out of all the people I talked about, he has been attacked by other YouTubers the most. Now, why is that? I think it comes down to one single aspect. Void has always claimed that he's trying to shake up the community, and that anyone trying to criticize him is only attempting to get him thrown off the platform cause he's speaking the truth. Now here's the problem. When bigger YouTubers started calling him out, they actually launched a mass deplatforming campaign trying to get VoidTodos permanently terminated from YouTube. This unintentionally gave a lot of validity to Void's claims. In the eyes of most of his viewers, he had been proven right. Void had successfully predicted that people were trying to deplatform him, which must be because he's speaking the uncensored truth. Now, this whole line of thinking led to a lot of people who all collectively disagreed with the idea of deplatforming supporting VoidTodos, and resulted in him developing a strong core community of fans. Now, essentially every time someone criticizes Void, he's able to claim that they are simply attempting to get him banned, and usually making a video about him only results in his community growing further. You can actually witness this trend on social plate. Now, I want to be clear here. Of course, my video is mainly about telling the unhinged story of VoidTodos, but I do also want to speak to Void's community directly, because they are the type of people that watch every single video critical of Void and try to defend him in the comments. Let me be clear, I am not trying to get Void deplatformed. I'm also not gonna call him any of the buzzwords people usually throw at him. In fact, I would even go as far as to claim that most other videos critical of Void aren't even good, and I'm not gonna be using any of their arguments. I just want to show to all of you how Void lies to his fans, embarrasses himself online on the daily, makes blatantly hypocritical arguments every time he's called out, and how he will do literally anything for just a little bit of attention. Alright, picture this. It's the tail end of 2019 and you just graduated from college with a bachelor's degree in biology. Life is about to get real. Now, what will your next step be? Are you gonna try to get a master's degree or attempt to get an actual job? Now, VoidTodos found himself in that exact position, and he decided to go with quite an unconventional option, trying to become famous online instead. Now, as he started streaming, his stick was basically to go on Omegle and try to intimidate people while wearing a black anonymous mask. When that didn't get him any views, he decided to switch up his content to exclusively streaming and posting Dead by Daylight content, while also releasing lifting videos on the side. Now, obviously none of these videos gained any real views because they were just amateur quality. The sound, the thumbnails, the topics, everything was just not good enough to really get him anywhere. Now, a normal person would just keep uploading videos and try to improve the quality with each upload, but not Void. See, Void is a pretty obvious narcissist obsessed with trying to grow his YouTube channel, so he couldn't believe that his shit videos didn't get any views. Therefore, he tried absolutely everything to get a following online, which led to maybe the most hilarious time period of Void's channel, where he tried getting popular by making TikTok dance videos, and in retrospect, considering what this guy ended up becoming, these are pretty hilarious to watch. He then also tried his hand at voice acting.
They say that everything happens for a reason. Such an outlandish gesture to assume that somehow screams of terror hoarded by dark smoke and bright flames has a place in this world. Maybe I've just been blind. Good. An eye for an eye. Maybe this pain can't be seen with the eyes, but must be felt with the soul. Then a blind warrior is what I'll become.
And look, I'm not trying to shame this guy for his performance here, but if you're literally only gonna say 5 lines, you could at least put in a little bit of effort and try to memorize those lines so you don't have to stand there reading from your phone like an idiot. He then also attempted Mr. Beast style challenge videos. He did the classic becoming bald for failing a video game challenge thing. He followed that up with the eating 100 chicken nuggets challenge. And I kid you not, the video literally consists of this guy eating chicken nuggets with no editing for 30 minutes. Wow, I really wonder why this didn't get any views. He then also attempted the 1000 push-up challenge, which mainly boiled down to him laying on the ground for most of the video and completely giving up after 25% of the challenge. Now, with all of his content ideas failing miserably and his channel going absolutely nowhere, Void probably felt pretty demotivated already, but then something happened that I truly believe broke Void and changed everything for the worse. The video "Hey Future Me, a message to myself from my 2 years younger me" got uploaded onto the VoidTodos channel. Now, this video is essentially a copy of Mr. Beast's "Hi to Me in 2 years" video. Now, these Mr. Beast videos actually ended up blowing up because he had accomplished so much that people were interested in witnessing the change between Mr. Beast now and Mr. Beast back then. However, with Void's video, he essentially now saw his past self talking about how successful he was gonna be.
Fuck it, yeah, I know you're trying to take this stuff seriously, right? You're trying to do it seriously. I know you is. I know because I'm currently in the process for doing it for you. So you got all your success. You gotta thank me for all your success. Anyway, let's say 2 years, 15,000 subs. Oof, 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 oof.
Meanwhile, in reality, he had accomplished absolutely nothing. I truly believe that this flipped a switch in Void because he probably felt extremely embarrassed about not having achieved anything he set out to accomplish. And from his tweets at the time, it was clear to everyone that he wanted to become a famous YouTuber, and now he was willing to do absolutely anything to make it happen. In June of 2023, VoidTodos proudly announced that he was gonna flip the Dead by Daylight community upside down and throw it into anarchy, which he actually thinks he did by uploading the Tunneling Gay Survivors for Pride Month video. For those unaware, tunneling means you're straight up targeting one person out of the game as quickly as possible and ignoring everyone else, and since some characters in the game are canonically gay, he only went after them throughout the whole video. Now, this really put him on the map as hundreds of people went to Twitter to go call him a bigot, which ultimately just led to him gaining even more notoriety and a bunch of attention from the controversy. Now, Void capitalized on this attention by releasing a part 2 and part 3, and also by going after different groups of people in more videos, such as Tunneling Mexican Survivors, where he, you guessed it, only went after the canonically Mexican in-game characters, or Tunneling Asian Survivors, and even dressing up as a priest while reading Bible verses about how gay people deserve to be executed, where he unsurprisingly exclusively targeted and killed gay survivors. He then further doubled down and targeted LGBTQ streamers regardless of what character they were playing. Now, if you maybe think that these videos are satirical and all just jokes, you would be severely mistaken, because they come across as extremely unhinged and suffer from being painfully unfunny. Even if he was going for comedy and satire, he failed because no one is laughing at this shit. Let me show you some clips.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. You gonna give me a happy ending? Yes. Do I get a happy ending? Fang, man. Do I get the happy ending? Where the fuck is my dog? You got my dog, Fang? I know y'all got like over 1 billion people, but that don't mean eat man's best friend. You think having that mask on was gonna protect your goddamn identity? You thought that was gonna help you? You thought that was gonna help? I can see the skin, boy. When it's not too black, but it's blacker than white, I know you American. Or whatever the hell you are. It doesn't matter, pretty much all the same. In this video, we'll be tunneling those wall hoppers, those ditch diggers, those cartel members, those people that's taking all our goddamn jobs. We'll be tunneling Mexicans. I wonder if we can trick them to come to the basement by offering like tacos.
Yeah, this is unhinged. Now, I'm not gonna definitively state whether this is racist, because calling Void racist is exactly what he wants, so I'm gonna leave it up to your interpretation. But I think one thing we can all collectively agree on is that these videos were pointless, cringe, and unfunny. My man went to the Deaf Noodle School of Comedy. Now, obviously, these videos got him a lot of attention, and this guy managed to sort of form an anti-LGBT bubble in the Dead by Daylight community. From what I could tell, the development team behind Dead by Daylight is pretty left-leaning and allows all the LGBTQIA+ flags in their game. Therefore, a lot of people who found themselves disagreeing with that ideology became supporters of the VoidTodos channel, and I do think it's interesting to see the unhinged comments of his fans. I like your videos, my G, go get those creepy LGBTQ and make them pay for their sins. WVid, fuck those child predators. And he's helping healing the world. That one's really funny to me because you can just tell that this person probably believes that like gay Jewish people are secretly controlling our society, yet they also at the same time believe that Void targeting gay people in Dead by Daylight is some sort of resistance against the LGBTQ community oppressing the common man, when in reality, even if gay people control society, which they obviously don't, what Void is doing literally would not affect them at all. Now, Void himself claims that he isn't actually anti-LGBTQ and that it's just all a big meme, but obviously his fans think otherwise, and every time he talks about being accepting of the LGBT community, he comes off as quite sarcastic. For instance, in this clip, he literally photoshopped a cap onto himself to heavily insinuate that he's capping and not genuine about what he's saying.
We in the VoidTodos community, we support the LGBT, ABCD, LGHQ community. Like, honestly, we don't have anything against them.
Like, if we're being real here for a second, it's obvious that this guy is just straight up anti-LGBT, which I do find quite interesting because he at the same time also claims that he's in fact an atheist.
But fun fact, I'm actually an atheist.
Now, this essentially confirmed to me that Void is in fact a grifter and doesn't actually believe in anything he's saying. See, there are actually two different types of YouTubers who hold an idiotic political opinion not based in reality. Either they genuinely believe in that opinion because they're misinformed or just simply delusional, or they only state that opinion because they know it's what their audience wants to hear. Now, I'm not gonna say which type of person is worse, but what I will say is that I do think Void is part of the second group, because Void is an atheist who is also anti-gay, while the only people that are anti-gay and argue against things such as gay marriage are religious people. All of the arguments those people have for their beliefs of marriage being a thing reserved between a man and a woman are all based on religion. You can't claim that homosexuality is a sin without being religious. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong here, but I haven't seen a single outspoken anti-gay person in the last like 10 years who isn't basing their arguments in either Christianity, Islam, or some sort of religious foundation. Maybe the only non-religious position against gay people would be if you're like just so uninformed that you actually still think all gay people have AIDS and therefore you want to stop the spread of AIDS by stopping gay people. But supporting that line of argumentation is literally indefensible. So considering Void is an atheist, I don't actually think that he believes in what he's saying. I think he's just spewing his anti-LGBTQ sentiments because he wants to attract a certain kind of audience, which makes him a grifter, or if he does actually believe it, he'd have to be a massive idiot. Now, it's very obvious which audience he wanted to pander to with his videos, since he also started hypersexualizing all of his uploads, frequently zooming in on spicy areas of female characters and constantly making sexual comments about those same characters.
Something just feels right. I don't know what it is. Oh, I don't know. Hold on. Okay.
This led to Void purposely building himself an audience which featured a lot of incels, racists, and anti-gay people. Now, obviously, the problem with this is that Void himself is a black man, and now he just gained an audience which largely didn't respect black people. And I'm just gonna show you guys a comment of a public VoidTodos subscriber to prove my point here. And the insane part about this is that Void has so little self-respect that instead of standing up for himself, he actually caved and released the same videos targeting black people. He even called himself the fried chicken tunneler. And these videos literally consist of Void promoting negative stereotypes and I would say outright racism against his own ethnicity, all to appease a group of people who at the end of the day will never truly respect him because of who he is. In my opinion, these are levels of spinelessness beyond belief, but in his eyes it worked. He had successfully transformed a bunch of frankly bigoted people who were previously outcasts in the community, because again, Dead by Daylight is one of the the most left-leaning games out there into his own community. He finally had some sort of relevancy, which means for Void, it became time for some good old-fashioned YouTube beef. Now, since a lot of the Dead by Daylight players on Twitter went after Void, he decided to release a response to the haters, and to be fair, some of the people on Twitter really did go after him hardcore, trying to get him doxxed, calling him a pedo, being racist themselves, and even trying to get him to stop making fitness content by contacting his gym asking them to ban him. And for the record, if you participated in these activities, I think you're just as bad as Void. But Void did bring all of this onto himself. It's entirely his fault that this is happening, and he really didn't do himself any favors with his response video because he just constantly plays the victim card.
They made pedophilia jokes, liking comments that are telling me to off myself. Like, you don't make pedophilia jokes. Why would you do that? And then people are like liking the comments. Why would you even joke about that? You know that's like a real thing, right? And you're gonna joke about that. That's crazy. And again, people liking the comments. That's crazy. You dislike me that much that you're gonna do some stuff like, wow, that is so toxic, bro. They called me fat, called me ugly, all this other shit. They like a whole bunch of personal attacks. I never personally attacked any of them.
I feel like Kaiser scripted this video for him. Like, the victim mentality here is insane. So let me get this straight. Void makes a bunch of videos where he shames people for their identity. He makes fun of Asian hate, he makes fun of gay people, he makes fun of Mexicans. But then he also says you shouldn't joke about pedophilia. And look, I agree that people calling him a pedo are obviously going too far, but you can't seriously be sitting here and claim that pedophilia is a real problem, therefore you shouldn't joke about it, while you yourself joke about all of these other things in your videos. By your own logic, Asian hate, racism, sexism, and homophobia are all not real problems because you're joking about them. I also love how he said he never personally attacked anyone, which is crazy considering he went after Twitch streamers literally for just being gay. Like, the hypocrisy and the double standard here are just insane, and this idiotic video led to another YouTuber called Choy making a video against VoidTodos. Now, I spent some time analyzing this guy's channel while researching this video, and I do think that overall he's probably not a bad guy. I think he's an alright person, he's just a bit too idealistic with the content he makes, cause Choy seems like someone who genuinely wants to make the Dead by Daylight community a better place, but the way he goes about achieving that goal is pretty flawed, cause he went to the SpooknJukes school of making commentary videos, which means they're basically all pointless and really stupid, and most of them feature excessive virtue signaling. But at the very least with this Choy guy, he seems to genuinely believe what he's saying. Now, his video on VoidTodos ended up being mediocre at best. You see, since Void is obviously someone that will absolutely try and use any possible argument to defend himself, you need to make sure your video is factually 100% correct as to not open yourself up to any reasonable counter attacks, because Void will definitely try to use anything he can against you in order to deflect from your actual criticism. Now, unfortunately, Choy fucked up massively by, for some reason, putting the main slave from the Django movie in the thumbnail instead of just using a picture of Void. Now, obviously, Void used this as an opportunity to call Choy a racist and dismiss his critical video as just racism. Now, Choy made this situation even worse for himself by then continuing to release videos against Void, but never once acknowledging the racism allegations, while on the other hand also secretly changing the thumbnail. Therefore, in the eyes of Void and his viewers, Choy had refused to engage with Void's arguments and proven him right by actually caving in and changing the thumbnail without notifying anyone. Now, my take on this is that Choy is obviously an idiot. Even though I think I understand why he put the slave from Django in the thumbnail, it's cause Void made a video calling himself a freed slave, and also the guy in the movie literally treats his own people horribly just to get the support from a white man, and I guess you can draw a parallel here to how Void panders to his incel audience at the expense of his own people's dignity. But overall, even though I can somewhat understand Choy's reasoning, it's just such a terrible look to put a slave in the thumbnail while talking about a black guy. Like, what are you thinking? thinking. Now his video mainly boiled down to showing a bunch of clips of Void targeting LGBT people and then calling him buzzwords, which I guess that's somewhat valid, but Choy chose like the worst possible examples for this, because he provided this chat log where Void unironically calls himself the mastermind to showcase how he's racist toward Asians. And yeah, I do agree that Void is being racist here, but you absolutely cannot ignore that the other guy is clearly being racist as well. Like, this is just a dumb example to show. Now Choy also complained about the video where Void dressed up as a priest to target gay people, to which Void responded by virtue signaling about Choy hating the Bible, which again just shows the grasping at straws, because let me remind you, this guy's an atheist. Realistically, he wouldn't care at all about this. He's just saying it because that's what his audience wants to hear. Now overall, the video didn't really accomplish anything. It left Choy and Void in a bit of a stalemate, with Void being able to defend himself through exploiting some of Choy's missteps, and it mainly just resulted in Void getting even more notoriety. Now as previously stated, Choy did actually turn the video into a full-on deplatforming campaign against Void, openly advocating for mass reporting Void's channel, which I do kind of condemn, because I don't think that's the right way to go about fighting Void, and obviously in the eyes of Void's fans, this single action gave a lot of credibility to Void's claims that he's being silenced and people want to destroy him because he's speaking the truth. I do honestly believe that trying to deplatform and mass report another YouTuber in most cases is just extremely uncalled for. Now this briefly worked, as Void did get banned from YouTube and SpooknJukes used the opportunity to go upload a video making fun of his ban, but as you can probably tell, his channel got reinstated shortly after. Now with his hairline receding and his bank account depleting, Void decided that now was the time to double down and start being even more controversial. Now before we get into what he did, I need to say something that I know won't be controversial to the people that frequently watch my videos, but that I think could be seen as a wild statement by a lot of people who just stumbled across this video. I do not give a single shit about hacking in video games. Hacking in video games is just like one of the least important problems I wanna speak out against, and I especially don't care about hacking in the context of the game Dead by Daylight, because it's not even a competitive game. Like, the only context where I would actually care about hacking in video games would be if you were in like a professional tournament playing for money, but just hacking in a casual video game is something I really do not care about at all. And I know some people argue, while hackers could destroy a streamer's income by targeting them specifically and repeatedly hacking in their games, to which my response would be, if you as a streamer have so little variety that if a hacker temporarily destroys your ability to play Dead by Daylight, forcing you to play something else, results in everyone leaving the stream, then congratulations, you're a failed streamer, and you brought that situation onto yourself because you've just proven that people don't actually care about watching you. Instead, they just want to watch Dead by Daylight, because any self-respecting streamer would be able to counter hacking by just switching their game. So no, I don't think hacking in video games is a big problem people should care about. Now, as you can probably tell, Void started hacking and even became an ambassador for Dead by Daylight cheating software, and I gotta admit, even though I don't care about hacking, the way Void does it is so extremely petty and embarrassing that it almost makes me change my mind, because Void developed fully automated hacking bots that exclusively target other streamers, which he has running remotely while he's not even physically on his PC. Meaning, while Void is at McDonald's ordering his 100 chicken nuggets, he literally has this fully automated bot hacking against streamers 24/7 without him having to do anything, which I do think is obviously a massive dick move, because I don't even see the enjoyment in doing this, because he's not even there to like witness what's going on. Well, anyway, he then decided to take it a step further by impersonating other streamers while hacking in order to falsely get them permabanned, which is crazy because just a few months earlier he complained about people trying to get him banned, but now he's just fully okay with getting other content creators banned for no reason. Like, the hypocrisy there is insane, and this actually got a few streamers banned, which resulted in maybe the least self-aware video Void ever released, How I Got Dead by Daylight to Ban Innocent Streamer, where he talks about how his impersonation led to a random 200 subscriber streamer getting permanently banned, and he tries to act like the good guy in the situation, being like, I can't believe that Dead by Daylight developers would ban this innocent person, we need to get his ban reverted immediately, please blow my video up so that the developers can fix their mistake.
Please blow this video up. Not for me, but for Abnormal Ramen 5637. Again, this dude is a small streamer and he is fucked, and he didn't do anything wrong. Abnormal Ramen 5637, he did not do anything wrong. His ban is completely unjustified.
And I mean, yeah, I guess the developers did make a mistake, but it's clearly you that caused all of this to happen. You went out there and impersonated this random streamer while blatantly cheating. Like, no one asked for you to do this. You're obviously the cause of this happening. So you coming in and making this video saying, oh, the developers need to fix their mistakes immediately, it's just so tone deaf. Now, around this time, he reached 6k subs and actually moved into doing YouTube full time. Now, as we have seen on this channel before, claiming to be a full-time YouTuber with 6k subs usually means something stupid is about to happen, and unsurprisingly, just a few weeks later, Void publicly embarrassed himself once again. He streamed himself hacking and stream sniping other Dead by Daylight content creators with literally every single cheat in the game enabled. Yet despite that, he went into a locker and another player actually managed to trap him in that locker by just constantly spam clicking the open locker button, meaning Void literally got trapped in the game and had to disconnect and became unable to play the game for quite some time due to an apparent disconnecting penalty, which I gotta say is hilarious, to be blatantly cheating and then be embarrassed by just a random player spamming a button. But this wouldn't even be a big deal if a certain person didn't use this as an opportunity to dunk on Void. SpooknJukes, who had been an outspoken critic of Void for over a year at this point, decided to upload a video making fun of Void for this situation. Now, Void, enraged by this, proudly announced that he was gonna make an amazing response debunking SpooknJukes once he reached 10,000 subs, which everyone immediately called out as an obvious bluff designed to boost Void's channel. Now, after that didn't get him any attention, he then actually agreed to debate SpooknJukes. However, despite exchanging Discord accounts in late August, there wouldn't be any confirmation of the debate actually happening until mid-December, when it finally got announced for December 20th. Now, on the day of the debate, VoidTodos was suspiciously running late, with SpooknJukes assuming that he's dodging the debate, probably because most of his positions are literally indefensible. Now, Void then went live on Twitter, streaming himself moving into a new apartment, while defending himself by saying that he hadn't set up his PC at his new place, therefore he's just moving everything into the apartment so that he can set up the stream later. He did offer SpooknJukes to move the debate to a different time, but SpooknJukes surprisingly seemed to be willing to just wait until Void was finished. Now, this seemed to catch Void off guard, and I think he probably panicked, cause he stopped the stream and went ghost for about an hour. Now, he then came back with this amazing video attempting to showcase that there was a fire going on in his apartment complex and that he couldn't join the debate due to the fire alarm.
I want someone to say I'm making a fucking excuse. I want someone to say I'm making a fucking excuse.
Now, obviously, SpooknJukes responded by calling Void out for pulling the fire alarm himself just to dodge the debate, because it did really seem like the timing was just too good to be true. Now, Void attempted to defend himself by posting the fire truck showing up, which, yeah, that's gonna happen when you pull a fire alarm. That literally doesn't prove that there's actually a fire going on. Now, he then tweeted, "Someone got burned up, no debate tonight. We'll still stream tonight once the smoke is out." And I straight up feel like this guy is just schizophrenic. Like, what smoke, man? There's literally no smoke visible in that picture. Like, is this smoke in the room with us right now, Mr. Todos? Now, Void then takes the moral high ground, calling out SpooknJukes for assuming that Void pulled the alarm himself by claiming that someone is literally going to the hospital. Now, I was intrigued by this, so I decided to actually try and find out the truth here. Bear with me for a second. In this picture, you can see that the fire department responding to this situation is Dallas Fire Station 48. So I looked up all fire department operations in the city of Dallas and found out there was one incident on December 19th at 8:50 p.m, which would be exactly 2 minutes before Void went live on Twitter with the fire alarm in the background and would line up neatly with the fire truck arriving about 15 minutes later. By the way, on my screenshots it says that this happened at 4 a.m. the next day, but that's just because I live in the Budapest time zone, which means I'm 7 hours ahead, but for Void it was 9 p.m. here. So the timeline for this incident lines up perfectly with Void's tweets. Now, I then put the assigned coordinates into Google Maps and discovered that the nearest fire station to these coordinates was in fact Fire Station 48, and I also went into Street View, and that building here seems to be the same building that's in the background of that picture, meaning this is in fact the incident. So I then went into the Dallas City Open database and looked for the fire report of that exact incident, and what I found is gonna shock you. It says subscribe to Materwelon if you like investigative journalism videos. Alright, sorry, I'll stop being cringe. Now firstly, this confirms that there were no injuries, meaning the part about someone getting transported to the hospital was just a complete lie to take the moral high ground over SpooknJukes. But the report does actually confirm that there was a small kitchen fire in one apartment, meaning he did not lie about there being a fire, which borders on divine intervention, by the way, that this fire broke out exactly as he was supposed to debate SpooknJukes. Unless you want to run with the narrative that like he caused it himself, which don't get me wrong, I'm definitely gonna do that for a thumbnail because I am desperate, but I'm not unhinged enough to outright claim that this is what happened. But the report shows something even more hilarious. This fire took place at a fucking motel, which leaves us with two options and both look horrible for Void. Either this guy couldn't afford his living situation anymore and had to move into a motel, which again just proves my point that you shouldn't go full time with 6k subs, or what's even more likely and even more hilarious would be option 2, that he booked this motel so he could pretend to move in there to give him a valid excuse to dodge the debate. I think the whole livestream he did showing himself moving all of his stuff into the new place literally was like a last minute idea this guy had to dodge the debate. Cause think about it, who moves places permanently on a winter night during the week instead of like Sunday or Saturday morning? I think it's extremely likely that he just stayed at this motel for a day and just pretended that he was moving into an actual apartment permanently so that he would have a solid excuse to dodge the SpooknJukes debate that night, which is exactly why he didn't show the fire report himself and instead had to accept people accusing him of pulling the fire alarm because he couldn't let people know that he lied about not actually moving, which again is insanely unhinged. Also, it's very telling that all of this happened like almost 2 months ago and Void still hasn't rescheduled the debate. Like, he's obviously dodging it. Oh, and by the way, Void, if you're actually living in a motel right now, I know just the right roommate for you. So this was the story of VoidTodos, probably one of the most unhinged people that I've ever covered on this channel. His career has been plagued with controversy, hypocrisy, lies, and just overall embarrassing behavior. I really think that this guy is completely unhinged and just based on his tweets and overall statements, highly likely also a grifter, and I truly believe that you shouldn't support this guy. Anyway, that's gonna do it for today. If you enjoyed, please like the video, subscribe if you haven't already, follow me on Twitter, and I will see you in the next one.